we're gonna record. All right, it's time to rock and roll, guys. Welcome to Team True Blues social media training for the month of April 2020. And I'm excited about tonight because a lot of our team is really cranking up their activity in social media. Some people that have said they would never build online are building online, and some people are really starting to have some fun with this because they're getting customers and distributors because of what they're doing online. And it's been over a month now. We had an elite call right after a lot of the craziness started to happen, got the elites on, and we made kind of like a list of suggestions of things we wanted to do with the team while all of this change in our schedules was going on. And one of the top things was, hey, let's up our social media game. Let's up our team's social media game while we have people that are more engaged in social media. And that's the purpose tonight. The first 20 to 30 minutes, it's 7 minutes after now. So somewhere around 9:27 to 9:37, the next 20 to 30 minutes, we're going to be training you on 3 basic topics. And we've got Gary Stern and Tim and Sarah and myself that will be training. And then we're going to open up to some Q&A for this group. And I would prefer, so that it's not pandemonium, I'd prefer that you put your questions in the chat box and you can queue those up. Like you can already have them typed out and ready to go, and then just hit the button when it's time for the questions and answers. So, and we'll start, working our way through those, answering the questions. And so let me just ask you guys, Tim, Sarah, just because of the situation with the kiddos, I know we talked about you guys doing the prospecting piece. Does it make sense that we leave you for last? Or Sarah, do you guys want to go first?
I think last makes sense because we can make sure we get those. Gives us 20 more minutes to possibly get them in bed.
Oh, okay.
I was really excited when you told me we could go third.
Yeah, last is best.
Okay, we'll stick with that. Awesome stuff. So then we're going to stick with our plan of starting with Gary Stern. And I like that flow better because Gary's going to be helping with the profile tonight. Everything kind of starts with the profile. I think if your profile's jacked up, you probably are going to you can have great posts and great prospecting skills. But if your profile looks like you're some weirdo, people are probably not going to even want to be your friend, right, Gary? So help us out with that. Give us some tips on do's and don'ts for the profile.
You got it. Thanks, Brandon. Lead off better. Here we go. So Here's the deal, guys. Think about this. You got to really understand who your target market is, right? So in this whole prospecting thing, you got to think, who am I trying to look for? We all say you're looking for somebody like yourself. You're looking to duplicate yourself. And you're really looking for people who are of influence on social media, especially. But that being said, if you're looking for somebody like yourself, take a hard look at what image you're portraying there online, right? And this one, for me, when I first really started using social media for business a while back, I had to make some serious changes. I had to take a hard look at this and ask myself, am I portraying the person that not fake, but the authentic me, right? So start with this area first and foremost. Think about, what are the areas of your life that you're most into? So like, I think of Cheryl Ray. Cheryl Ray is into dogs, period. Like I know that outright. Others like Holly Tomei, I think of her and I think horses instantly. When you guys think of me, you think of bicycles immediately. It's just like, it's a given, right? I look at Tim and Sarah, I look at Tim and I think of New Orleans Saints or LSU football, right? It's just, we all have our things that we do or that we are kind of identify ourselves. Is that who people are thinking that you are? Or are they looking at your profile picture or looking at what you're posting and thinking you're the person that gets slamming drunk every weekend and barely hanging on to a job the rest of the week, right? If that's the case, that's the type of person you're going to attract. And that's not exactly the type of person that's going to have success in network marketing. So start with your profile picture. Now, The difference is a profile picture is this little one down here, and then your cover photo is the large one above that. Right now, I'm talking about the picture, just the small picture. The profile picture is of you, not you and your best girlfriend if you're a girl, right? Oh, this is my best friend, Susie. If I'm looking through your profile, I don't know which one you are and which one Susie is. Or if it's two dudes hanging out, I don't know which one's John and which one's Mike. Like, I don't know who's who. So that picture should be you, period. No partners, no pets, no children, no crazy background, no Snapchat filters making you with the butterfly things and all that. Like, it's probably not a good idea to have any of those things. And the reason is that's the very first impression that people get. You send them a friend request or you comment on their post, and Tim's going to go into some of that on the prospecting and marketing and prospecting side of things. No donkey in the picture with you either. No, exactly, Betty. But Tim's going to go into that marketing and prospecting message. And when they come back and look at your profile, you don't want any distractions in that picture. A nice, good, clean picture of you. Does it have to be a professional headshot? Absolutely not. It could be something fun of you smiling, or maybe it's you speaking on stage, or maybe it's you in your element. But like, I'm not going to be in my bicycling gear because I'll have a hat, a helmet, and glasses on. You wouldn't be able to see my face. So a nice, good, crystal clear picture of yourself. You also want to have the background clear of all kinds of distractions. Like, I do my lives and stuff in here, and I got all kinds of distractions back here, right? But in a perfect world, you'd have a nice crystal clear background behind you. If you're mostly light, meaning if there's really good light on you, a darker background, and vice versa. If you're kind of dark in the picture, maybe a lighter background to make you pop out. You have to think around those things. But typically, if you have lighter hair, you're going to want a darker background, etc. So that's your profile picture. Take a look, not right this minute, but take a look at your profile picture and do some rehab on it if you need to. Number two, and also update it, right? We don't want a picture that's like 5 years old. Although mine's getting up there. It's like over 3 years old, but it still looks like me. I still don't have any hair in it. Next one is your cover photo. Sorry, your cover photo. Now the cover photo, you're not advertising your products, your opportunities. You'd be surprised at how many LifeVantage distributors that I look and I instantly know that they're in LifeVantage. So I know immediately, and I'll tell you this in a little bit later, I know immediately I'm most likely going to unfollow them. It doesn't mean I'll unfriend them, but I will unfollow them like that because I don't want their stuff showing up in my feed all the time and my stuff showing up in their feed all the time. You want your things showing up in the feed of people that can enroll in your business, that can be a business partner of yours ultimately at the end of the day, if we're using this for business. So cover photo, don't advertise stuff up there, products or business or anything like that. Just advertise yourself, right? It could be a picture of your name and a few things about you if you want to do that, right? Maybe you're an avid, like, we'll get into mine in a second, but on mine, I have some very specific things that I put into my profile. But in your cover picture, that's where you might want to add your family in. That's where you might want to add some pets in. That's where you might want to add some activities in. If you love to travel, maybe the last place you traveled to. The cover photo is the one that's going to actually rotate out the most, if that makes sense. So I'm looking at mine right now. It's the same profile picture. I did add the little banner on there that says stay at home and save lives. But the picture is of my wife, my son, and I from late last year, right? It's almost time to update that again. I would have updated it if we could have gone on a trip this summer, but I don't see that happening right now. So those are the two things right there, right? The two photos. Now, you have a next most valuable part of the real estate, and that's your intro. It's called the intro, right? You can edit your bio, but it's right there. It says intro. And typically you should do no more than like 3 lines here, guys. Something quick, short, and sweet that tells people who you are. Mine, I put global thrill seeker because I love things that are thrilling and fun and exhilarating, and I love going all over the globe for it. So I put global thrill seeker, devoted dad and husband, so people know I'm a family guy. I mean, you guys know it. I'm always talking about my son, always talking about my wife, always talking about the things we do together. And number 3, a successful entrepreneur and mentor. I want people to see that and go, gosh, that's the kind of guy that I could see doing business with, or that's the kind of guy that I could see being friends with. he could add value into my life. Hopefully I can add some into his, but he could add value into my life if he loves to travel. He's a devoted family guy and a successful entrepreneur and mentor. You don't have to copy mine. You do what fits you best, okay? Last thing I'll say is keep your, I don't put in there in the rest of the information about me section, I don't put that I'm a LifeVantage distributor. I know a lot of people do. They put independent distributor with LifeVantage. I personally would shy away from that if I were you, because people instantly then know exactly what you are. And sometimes they're going to think that if you're friend requesting them, that you're only friend requesting them for that. Instead, I would use that valuable real estate and maybe put some links to your other social media profiles. So for instance, I have links to my YouTube channel, to my Instagram, to my LinkedIn, to my website, my personal website that I have. If you don't have all those things, it's not the end of the world. I'm saying I'm giving you ideas of what you can put in there. If you use Snapchat, I don't use that, or TikTok. I know Tim's an expert on that. I don't use all those things. I stick with the 3 or 4 things that this old guy knows how to do. But put something in there that might catch somebody's attention, right? I've seen people say, I used to have on mine self-employed and loving it. That's where I worked, was at self-employed and loving it. Or I've seen others say works at, and then they just put entrepreneur or travelpreneur or stay-at-homepreneur, whatever. Something catchy that gets somebody wanting to know more about you versus going, oh yeah, that's a LifeVantage distributor. I know exactly what he does. Some of the quick do's and don'ts, because you're right, Brandon, this time goes by really quickly, but I'm going to be very respectful of this. Don't put LifeVantage or Pro Tandem on your profile. Don't claim that you're going to retire in 6 months or in any time frame for that matter. Like, just don't do it. Don't do it. You never know what's going to happen, right? You just never know what's going to happen. Look at the difference today. 30 days ago, I was on an airplane back from Colorado because my trip got canceled. I got out there and found out the whole rest of the trip was canceled. 2 days later, I flew home. 30 days ago. Now look where we're at with everything on lockdown. Things change fast, guys. Don't claim retirement yet. Don't post topics that could limit your audience. This for me means religion, political, or racial. For you, there are people that I know their faith is of utmost importance. Just realize that some things that you may post could be polarizing, could alienate 50% of your audience. I'm not saying don't follow your faith. I mean, for me, I always put faith and family first. I put yesterday, Happy Easter from the Stern family, right? Stern family. They think, oh, that guy's Jewish. No, we don't celebrate Passover. We celebrate Easter. But with that said, I didn't get into a whole lot of depth on religious tones or anything like that, because I don't want to alienate any of my audience. I want everybody I want to know people to understand that I'm receptive of everybody's views on religion, politics, and racial tensions that are out there, so to speak. So just don't post stuff that could polarize. Polarize means separate or divide your audience. And don't treat social media like it's your psychiatrist, like bitching and whining and complaining, excuse my language, today. And then tomorrow I've got the most amazing opportunity. Life is so great. It doesn't mean don't share your struggles. You can share your struggles on there and how you problem solved and overcame those struggles. People love to see a hero like that, for sure. But don't like get on there and get plastered drinking your woes away, complaining about the dude or the chick that you just broke up with, or your spouse or your kid or your significant other for that matter. I mean, goodness gracious, just don't do that, because who on earth wants to partner with somebody like that, right? You got to think of this as your resume. Facebook is your, or social media is your online resume. And there are multiple studies that say that employers put more emphasis on your social media profile than they do on a resume. When I'm hiring for my bike shop, with my shop manager does the hiring, but I have him look at them and check them out on social media before he does anything else. They could send their resume over. A lot of them don't even have work experience in the bike shop. Some of my best employees have not had work experience, but we've hired them because we like what they're doing on social media. They show that they're growing and developing and personally developing themselves. So those are a handful of the things. I'm just looking at my notes because I made some quick notes on here, guys. And of course, we can open it up for questions at the end, but mine is more to introduce kind of the do's and don'ts. Be authentic. Be your true self. and find out what your brand and what your voice is, right? For me, I kind of talk to that middle-aged dude that's stuck in a job, that makes good money, but stuck in a job and is miserable with what he does and wishes and hopes that there's more out there. He believes that there's more out there. And yes, I keep saying he on purpose, not because I'm chauvinistical. I'm talking about who my ideal person is I'm talking to, who believes there's more out there to life, who wants to be his own boss, wants to have more time freedom, wants to be that dad, wants to have more time with his family, wants to make a little more income, right? Is athletic already, is competitive in some way, shapes, or forms, has already had some form of success. That's the dude I'm talking to, because that's who I want in my business. So I'm tailoring my message to that person. So think, who's the ideal candidate for your business? And by the way, that person I just described was this dude 9 years ago. Is this dude 9 years ago? I'm looking for another one just like me, because I know then they'll have them. They have that mindset. They just need a plan to get there. So think, when you're tailoring your profile and your messages, who or what are you trying to attract at the end of the day? Brandon, Tim, do you guys want to comment on that? Did I leave anything out? I did it really fast to really leave time for you guys.
It's good. No, you kind of good transition into what I'm going to be sharing with you guys, and we're going to come back to the Q&A for you guys. Please reach out to your teams. I'm getting a lot of nasty grams. Well deserved, because there's a lot of people shut out of this tonight. And the reason we set this up as a meeting is because we wanted this to be interactive. We could have set it up with a webinar where there would be 500 people on, not interactive. Can't have the Q&A. And so that's why it was set up. Maybe it was a mistake on my part. We will have the recording. It will be at teamtrueblue.org. It will be in the Facebook group. So please reach out to your teams. Let them know we're going to have that to them. We had planned on streaming this live so everybody would see it. Facebook just didn't allow that tonight, or Zoom. So Gary touched on a little bit of what I'm going to now elaborate on, and that is posting. So Gary talked about the profile, kind of some do's and don'ts on your profile. If you can't get beyond that, it doesn't really matter what you're posting. I'm going to cover with you just a couple things that is going to help you formulate, plan, and put your thoughts into words for posting, because many times people struggle with what to post. I know I struggle. I still struggle with it today. This past week and this past month, there are days where I just don't know what to post. And the reality I have come to find is this: the good stuff is not necessarily in what you post, but it's your either call to action in the post or what Tim and Sarah are going to be sharing with you. And that is what you're doing in the prospecting portion of what you do in social media. And so first of all, I want all of you, one of the best pieces of advice that I ever heard about social media, and I guess to give you some context around our business right now, I bet 8 out of 10 enrollments that we're getting right now, customer and distributor, are coming through social media. Whereas 6-7 years ago, all of them were people that we either knew or were getting referrals. And so the vast majority of our enrollments today are coming through what we're doing in social media. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever received about social media and what do I post, some people call it a brand. Gary, I think, just referred to it as a brand. You'll hear a lot of trainers talk to it as a brand. Danielle, Danny's iPad, please mute your line. Kind of broke through there on us. There we go. Got it. So I want you to think of your social media feed as like a network, a television network. Let's take, for instance, like the Food Network. Okay, let's say you love to cook and you're just kind of what we call a foodie, right? You're the Food Network. So if you go to the Food Network and it's nothing but sports, and it's a sport that you don't even like, maybe it's like, I don't know, badminton or something. Like, are you going to watch it? No, you're not going to watch it. I mean, you went there to see recipes and amazing things cooked. All right. So one, when you go to a network, you kind of need some consistency. So when Gary's was saying, hey, you come to my page, you're going to see entrepreneurship, you're going to see cycling. Yeah, that's what, when you go to, like, that's, if you're into the cycling world, which there's millions of people in the cycling world, you're going to get some really good value from Gary Stern in the cycling world. And so on the other side, let's say you go to the Food Network and it's 50 minutes of commercials and literally 10 minutes of cooking and recipes and ideas. Are you going to stick around? No, because you don't want to see the sales pitch every 10 seconds. See, a lot of people on social media, like every other post or every 2 out of 3 posts is about their products and about becoming rich. And people are going to tune out. That's the commercial. The commercials are a few seconds of the program, right? You got 10 to 15 minutes of good programming, and then I guess you got 60 seconds or 2 minutes, 3 minutes of commercials, and then it's back to 15, 20 minutes of programming. You guys know, you get frustrated when you're trying to watch a show that you want to see the content, and all they do is keep running sometimes the same stupid commercial. So don't do that in your post. Don't keep running the same LifeVantage Pro Tandem commercial in your feed. Your feed is like a network, all right? And so what should your network be? Your network should be, or your feed, your brand should be what you have talent and knowledge in. So I was just talking to a guy who just enrolled in California. I am struggling with the time zones right now, guys. Holy smokes. I'm just going to tell you, thank goodness for social media right now. And he told me, look, I'm not going to build online. But later, after we did his launch guide, tonight's not about the launch guide, but you need to be using your launch guide, guys. I just asked him, I'm like, are you going to do nothing on social media? He's like, no, I would love to do social media if I knew how. I said, okay. So I knew a little bit of what he does. He cleans pools. He services pools for a living. So I said, listen, it's not maybe something you think is real glorious, cleaning pools. You want to get out of it. One of the reasons you're doing LifeVantage is so that you don't have to clean pools anymore. I said, but do you know how many people on Facebook own swimming pools? Do you know how many people on Facebook right now that maybe were having their pools serviced can't afford to have their pools serviced anymore? Do you know how many people on Facebook, if you would at least once or twice a week go live and just tell people how to save money or take care of their own pool, if you see some type of algae developing, just turn the video camera on, tell everybody what kind of algae is and tell them how to fix it. Now, everybody that owns a pool knows who to go look for in social media if they got a pool problem, okay? And so you may be thinking, well, how does cleaning a pool, how is that going to translate to enrolling or getting customers and distributors? The point is, guys, you want traffic. You want people's eyeballs on your social media feed. There's billions of people get into the scroll, and if you don't stop the scroll, you've got nothing. If you can stop some people from scrolling, ooh, now you got something. And if you get them to read your stuff, it's worth lots of money to you, okay? And so yes, there is a talent to be developed and skills to be developed in developing the right post, but it's really pretty simple. You are like a television network, and it's your job to put content out that's consistent, that people want, with just a few sprinkled commercials to pay for the material, okay? And so now let's talk about that sprinkling, that commercials, those commercials you're gonna run. When do you do it? How do you do it? There's a lot of philosophies out there about the frequency of posting, how much to post, and the truth of the matter is, you can do this a number of different ways, all right, as far as the amount of posting. However, after many questions and analyzing many successful networkers in social media, we've concluded that there's a formula that's kind of bridged a lot of teams, and it's the 4-2-1 formula. So add that up. 4 + 2 + 1 is 7. 7 days in a week, 7 posts. It's at least 1 post a day, guys. 4 of them are around lifestyle or your brand or your network, like the messaging you're putting out, where your talents and abilities are that you can add value to the world. Okay. If you're a realtor, do that. If you're a stay-at-home mom, do that. I mean, I don't want to get off course, but whatever you do and you're good at it, you maybe get paid to do it, that's what you should be sharing 4 days a week. Okay. And usually you want to pick somewhere around 3 areas of your life around lifestyle. If you go look at my feed, you're going to see a lot of stuff on the water. That's part of my lifestyle. We fish a lot. We hang out on boats a lot. That's part of my lifestyle. And just this past week, I went fishing. I caught a bunch of fish. And then I told everybody in the social media world where to go find them. Every other person in the world is like, where'd you catch them? And they all these jokes that they won't tell you. I told them, like, this is exactly where I caught them. So guess what? People are going to come back to my feed that like the fish because I tell people where the fish are. I go catch them and I tell you where they're at. So four times a week, I'm posting stuff about my lifestyle, right? Things that I enjoy doing. 2 posts a week are around wellness and business. So wellness can be nutritional stuff. It can be working out type stuff. I try to stick to the nutrigenomic stuff and the activation stuff on our one day that we sell. I'll get to that in a second. So wellness and business. So I will put out business posts. I'll put out stuff about Google and the analytics of Google. I'll put out stuff that I see going on in the investment world. I probably read at least 15 to 20 minutes a day just on money in the markets. Little side note, guys. Well, no, I'm gonna filter myself there. Let's just say I made a really good decision before the market crashed a few weeks ago. A really good decision. It's because of all the studying I do, and I share that for free. Like if people would have taken my advice in the financial world, they would have earned thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars based on my advice. And I'm giving that stuff away. So I do that twice a week. And then once a week, specifically on Monday, I talk LifeVantage, but I don't say LifeVantage. I don't say Protandim, none of that. Now you may find some stuff way back in my feed, but you have to really, really look for LifeVantage. And so we produced a social media calendar. And down here, you see this little formula. There it is. Let me back up. There it is right there. 421, right? That is our posting formula. 4 on lifestyle. The L stands for lifestyle. WB is wealth and business, wellness and business. And the S, sell, which intimidates some people, sell, is about network marketing. It's about nutrigenomics. And so go look at the post I did tonight. It's about nutrigenomics. Last week, I did a Facebook Live about nutrigenomics. In the call to action, I asked people if you wanted a PDF. 60 people asked me for the PDF, and 7 people asked for samples from 1 7 or 8 minute video. That's the power of social media, right? I got 67 prospects now from that one post. And so be a good television station, right? Like, just don't be the commercial. Follow the 421 formula to posting. And Gary covered some of the other things I would have shared anyway. When you're posting, don't go off into areas that are going to alienate you from your organization of the world. I have some very strong beliefs. Doesn't mean I need to voice them to the world. When it comes to things outside of my brand or social media. So anyway, I'm going to kick this over to Tim and Sarah. I see they got a little golden nugget that has joined them. So I'm going to kick this over to them. And just remember, guys that are listening to this tonight, we're going to have a Q&A here in just a minute so we can elaborate on some stuff. So Tim and Sarah are going to handle the prospecting portion of social media and give you some tips there.
Like clockwork, we thought we were in the clear. And the minute we were about to come on, she came. So
here we go.
Here we go. Let's see how this goes. The other one's asleep.
Okay, so what I want to say before we get started into prospecting and talking about the posting strategy, don't get hung up on the posting strategy, because I did. and I would still be hung up there. Because if you go to my Facebook profile, I posted last night, but it may have been a while since I posted. That attraction marketing part of building your business, that's a long-term play. And your posting strategy is part of that attraction marketing strategy. It's very good. It's very important. You do want to do it. But if posting gives you anxiety, like it does me, don't freak out and think that you can't build a successful business on social media, because you absolutely can. I've enrolled 3 people from social media this month already, and I'm in conversation with many more. And that's because I am doing the prospecting, which is the direct short-term plan to build your business.
Yeah, the prospecting is the part that is the most uncomfortable, because once you learn how to post, people just think that you can post anything and you're just going to make a bunch of money. But without the prospecting side, typically it's going to be a little bit harder to get people to commit to join you as a customer or a distributor. But it really is an ecosystem, right? I think I told Brandon this before. We talked about this. You can actually be successful prospecting without being a good poster at all. But if you are an awesome poster and you never prospect, you're never willing to reach out to people, you probably won't have much success on social media. So truly, both of them are important. This really is a whole ecosystem of your brand that you're creating. It's the combination of everything Gary talked about with having the profile. It's a combination of your posts, and then it's a combination of prospecting. A lot of times when you start to prospect somebody, they will go to your profile and they're going to look at your details, they're going to look at your picture, and they're going to look at your first few posts. So those things do matter. But it's important to prospect and reach out to people and have those conversations and build relationships. And at the end of the day, prospecting is all about building trust, right? People want to work with people. They want to join people that they know, like, and trust. And what you're doing in this whole social media strategy is getting people to know, like, and trust you. So really, prospecting, what it is, prospecting is sifting and sorting the people on your social media. And a lot of people will teach a lot of different strategies for adding new people to your database. And I do think that is important. But sometimes people spend so much time adding new people that they're failing to talk to the people that are currently on their friends list already, right? When you're talking to cold market people, the goal is to bring them a little bit warmer. You already have a bunch of people that are warm on your friends list. And those are the people that you should talk to first, especially if you have a whole bunch of friends that aren't LifeVantage. You have a whole bunch of people to talk to. But prospecting, we're learning in this time out of necessity that prospecting social media is necessary, because we can't go into social circles. We can't go into the church or all these other places that we normally meet people. So now you're seeing the need of it. And now you're understanding why it's important to have the social media strategy, because we don't know what's going to happen. And this is a business of duplication. So if you learn to prospect people, your team is going to do as you do, not as you say. And if they, regardless of what rank you are, regardless of how big your paycheck is, whatever level you're at, if they see you in phase 1, if they continue to see you prospecting in this award system, the golds and the bronzes and the silvers, and that's amazing, because you get to see some of the leaders that have been in this business for 8-9 years that are still in phase 1, still continuing to bring people into the business. You want to have anything to add to that? She's distracted by the little one. So I'll jump a little bit more. So there's a big difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. We are overtrained as network marketers. We learn scripts, we learn to do all these things, right? And so that's why there's 2 different sides to prospecting. There's the mindset of it, which is actually getting into gear, and there's the mechanics of it. Now, you ready to add something? I want you to lose your thought.
Okay. I mean, I can take over whenever you're ready for me to take over.
Well, add whatever you need to add to that part.
To the mechanics of it?
We're starting with the mindset. We're getting people into gear.
We're starting with the mindset?
Start with the mindset. The reason why we're starting with the mindset is because a lot of you have learned a lot of training in regards to doing things, right? But some of you just aren't willing to do it. And that's why I wanted to start with the mindset, because you have to find out what really drives you into action. What is going to make you start contacting people on your social media platform, right? What is going to make you start reaching out to people? And it comes down to 2 things. It comes down to your why, what drives you. People say your why should make you cry. I think I heard a quote today. It was, the bigger the why, the harder you try. Some people are motivated by that emotional side. Some people are competitive. Some people just want to win. Some people want to just, create a large business. Whatever drives you into action, you need to figure that out, or you're never going to get to the mechanic side of prospecting people and bringing people into the business.
Yeah, and this is not about you. Like, you already are taking the products, you're in the business, You're going to go to the top if you decide to. You are in it. It's happening for you. You just have to trust the process, follow the system, and continue taking action, planting seeds. You're sharing this information with others for them. When you share our products with people, the health benefits that they're going to receive as a result of taking the products far outweigh the money you're going to make from the sale of that product. You sharing the business with them is an opportunity for them that you have already said yes to. You're just sharing this information to see who is open to taking a look. So when you make it about other people and less about you, it's so much easier to invite right now. I'm having such an easy time opening the door of conversations with people because truly deep down in my heart, I know how grateful I am for this opportunity right now. I think about our lives before LifeVantage. If this would be happening, this whole pandemic situation, we would be in a completely different situation because of it. So I know that I have a gift for people, and it's what can I do to help others?
Well, let's move to this really quick. If you're having trouble reaching out to people, I can promise you it's probably because you're worried about what other people think. You're concerned that they're going to judge you. You're concerned that they're going to reject you. And really quick, we talked about it before, it just means you need to have your belief built. You need to have your belief built in the products, which is the easy one, the company, the business model, network marketing, and you need to have belief in yourself. Once you have belief in what you have, you can take this to people and not worry about what they think, because you know that what you're doing could be good for them. You know that what you're doing is helping to provide for your family, and you shouldn't be ashamed of that, right? So that's the mindset of it. Work on your why, build your belief. Let's get into some mechanics. You got some good stuff on mechanics.
Okay, so the mechanics. You want to start with the people that you do know. We talked about people want to buy products from and do business with people they know, like, and trust. Do you know who likes you? The people that are already engaging in your Facebook post and watching your stories. If you're not using stories, you want to start using stories. I do a lot of my posting in stories. Make a list. A good plan of action for you to do tonight whenever we finish this is to go look at your recent posts and stories and see who that isn't already with LifeVantage is engaging on your post, and that's a great place to start. You want to prospect the people that are already following you, and if there's someone on your list that you want on your team, go and engage on their post to get their eyes on your profile and to get them looking at you.
The stories is one of the best inventions of social media because it not only allows you to get a peek inside of people's lives. People want to show what's happening in their lives. You get to learn more about people in stories than you would at them posting once a day, twice a day. You learn more about them in stories. And they love having people interact with them in stories. So it's very easy to open up those conversations in stories. We're big proponents of the stories. We actually post more in the stories than we do actually on our feed because we get so many more people looking. We get so many people reaching out to us. And it's just a better way to build engagement with people.
Yeah, so if you want to grow your list of followers and people to talk to, and listen, right now is a time where if you've shared this information with someone and they've said no, that they're not interested, now's a good time to encourage people to take another look. Like, be bold, ask them to take a look. Don't disregard them because they've said no in the past. Things are different. Their lives have changed. Everyone's in a different situation today than they were before. But if you need more people, a good place to start is people that you like to follow. If they have fan pages that you like to follow, groups that are that you're interested in, go and make new connections in there. Comment on posts. Take the conversations from the comment section, and this applies to people that you're already friends with as well. Go from the comment section to Facebook Messenger and have conversations in Messenger. And you don't have to spend a whole lot of time building rapport and getting to know people. You can jump straight into the conversation. A line that I'm using a lot with people right now is that I'm super focused and productive in my home-based business, and I'm so grateful for it. That opens the door for them to ask you about it, for you to tell them more. And if they don't take it from there, you can say, that you are looking to get this information in the hands of as many people as you can right now, because the information you have to share can help people with their health and with their finances right now. Are they open to taking a look at what you have?
Yeah, here's a line that I heard that I thought it was brilliant. I'm reaching out to some of my best contacts. I thought when I heard that, I was like, that's such a good opener when you're inviting somebody to take a look and you're complimenting them, you're making them feel good about it. I'm reaching out to some of my best contacts. So add that to the invite that she said. Adding that to that makes it even more powerful. I don't know how we're on time. It's already 8:45. Anything pressing? I know, guys, it's a numbers game. At the end of the day, guys, you have to be bold. You have to cut to the chase. If you build rapport forever, you'll make a bunch of friends, but you probably won't be building your business. So at some point, you have to be bold and you have to reach out to people, but you want to let them know this is not just about making the sale. So especially if people tell you no, still continue to have conversations with them, still continue to talk to them, because I can tell you, if you reach out to somebody and they think you're just trying to make the sale, they're expecting you to just disappear because they said no. You'd be surprised how many people that you reached out to now, they don't think they're ready, but they will be ready in a few weeks. They will be ready in a few months. It may take you a day to enroll somebody. It may take you several years. We're enrolling people now that we first talked to back in 2012, 2013.
But it took my friend 9 years. She's going to be signing as a distributor tonight. 9 years. And you know how I stayed in touch with her? Social media. All
right, Brandon, it's the time for your question. So get out there, guys. It's a numbers game. You will make up in numbers that you lack in skill, but the better you get, the better your completion rate will get. As your invite gets better, as your follow-up process gets better, you'll start to get more and more people joining your business.
And don't let social media give you anxiety, because if it does and you don't like it and you're not having fun, you're not going to do it. I know. I've been there. It's just a way to stay connected with people. It's such a great resource to maintain relationships that we can't maintain face-to-face, especially during a quarantine, but just because life is so busy, you can still feel connected to people that you haven't seen in 10, 15 years, where you can
it's the ultimate follow-up tool.
Facebook Messenger and have a conversation, and it feels like you've been in each other's lives forever.
Yep.
So.
No, that's really good stuff, Sarah. I love. Say that one more time about being focused in your home-based business. Say that one more time.
I'm super focused and productive in my home-based business right now, and I'm so grateful for that.
Love that. And yeah, I'm reaching out to my best contacts, guys. That's like money statements. We call that the money statement. Like, that's really, really, really good stuff. And so I think we could go on for hours, and each of us could probably produce a 3 or 4 hour training series on this stuff. But we wanted to, as a team, I think what we're going to do is just do these more frequently for you, where we'll come in, update you on the latest and greatest stuff. But let's get to some of these questions. Does anybody see a question yet, Gary or Tim and Sarah? Do y'all see one yet that you want to jump on? Some of these are directed specifically to a person, so that's cool.
Sarah's currently typing in what she said. So. Sarah's typing in the chat box what she said, somebody asked.
Okay, well, Tracy, you asked a question about sharing your part of your story, but not too long. And so, Tracy, I think, depending today, in today's world, with what's going on with the virus and our products, you have to be careful with your story because of the compliance issues. I hate that light that's reflecting. And I know you have a really powerful story. And so one thing I'll tell you guys is don't feel compelled to connect all the dots for people, because I used to do that. I used to think that I had to spell it all out in my post. What Tim and Sarah just said is the absolute truth. You're not going to get a bunch of people to you put this great post out because of your story and they reach out and want to sign up. They're going to sign up because of the conversations you're having one-on-one. So if you're wanting to share your story there one-on-one, there may not be a better sales tool than your story. Everybody's story is the way to do this thing. So hope that answers that question.
Yeah. And then other people's stories too. So connecting them in a 3-way messenger chat, somebody who has very similar backgrounds or similar interests, and getting that person to share their story is even more powerful.
My question was, yes, I do that, but I was thinking more like, again, the storybook, a beginning, a middle, and an end, and saying what it was like when I was a child. And I went to 7 different elementary schools and things like that. Not just the MS thing and not just the LifeVantage thing, but making myself open to the rest of the world. Not a good idea.
No. Very good idea. And I would take it in bits. I would take it in small pieces.
Yes.
But
not all in
one
one day, not in all one week.
One of the best, most powerful storytellers right now in the entrepreneurial world is a guy named Pete Vargas. And he uses his story about his dad abusing him to pull people in. Like that, he has a 4-step process. We'll talk more about that later, but absolutely your story is very powerful because there's a lot of people that have your similar story and you want to connect with them.
He got me hooked with his story. There was a question on there about messenger hackers from Lisha, if I'm not pronouncing that right. Lisha, I get those all the time as well. Your message will be differentiated because you'll have already hopefully made some kind of interaction with that person, and they'll have already gotten to know you and like you and trust you. So they're almost expecting your message at that point versus it just coming out of nowhere, I would say. And then the second one I wanted to address really quick was from Rhonda about emojis. You're right, Rhonda. I think when you overdo it with emojis, it looks extremely unprofessional and childish at the end of the day. And again, what are you trying to attract? You know, I've seen them. There are people that I know in LifeVantage that just emoji the living daylights out of it. And I just stopped looking at their posts. I stopped reading it. And, you know, Rob Sperry did a really good part on that one time, spacing the messages out, spacing the posts out, and just, you know, putting breaks in there, a little bit of emojis so that if it visually looks good to you, awesome. If it looks overdone to you, don't do it.
That's what I was going to say too, Rhonda, what Gary said. I use emojis. Like the post I used tonight, I had maybe, I don't know, a grand total of 8 or 10 of them. What I do is I string them together. I don't put them everywhere. And I use them more to break up the post. I don't put emojis everywhere, but I'll use an emoji to break up a post so it's easy reading for people as they scroll. Here's the other thing why many people will use emojis. Facebook likes them. Facebook likes emojis in posts. So if you know, I've put posts out before, guys, that Facebook hated and no one even saw it. And I thought it was a really good post. Yeah, I can tell. Like, I kind of know my numbers. I know how many people like things and comment on things. And when I get something that no one comments or sees, it's because Facebook didn't like it. They just didn't want the world to see it. And so that's why video is so powerful. And stories, like Sarah and Tim talked about, super powerful. Facebook wants you to use stories, so they show more people your stories.
I think we need to explain what stories are. For some stories, is not just like the story. Stories is, if you look at the top of Facebook, you'll see like people have like little bits and pieces of their day that they string together in little 15-second increments or less. And you can really get a look into what people are doing throughout their days. And some people are really skilled at it, really tell, you know, if you want to start getting into stories a little bit, just think about some parts of your day that would be interesting to showcase. People by nature are a little voyeuristic. They like to watch people's lives and what's happening. And it's a great way for people to get to know you. The goal for us with things like stories is for somebody to walk up to me that's never met me before and to feel like they know me. If you can get strangers to feel like they know you through posting and stories or posting on your wall, that's the magic secret to getting people to be open to listen to you, not to get to necessarily join you, but at least being open to take a look. And that's what you're looking for in prospecting, is for people to be open to take a look. And then you put them through the process and trust the process over and over again. Just trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tim and Sarah, what would you say to this question? Sorry, Gary, let me come back to you, but what would you say to this question? How do you get your message out when you are in a closed group that does not allow selling? So guys, what she's saying is she's in a group. Some of these Facebook groups are closed. How do you sell in a closed group? Like, what do you do? So that's
goes back to just building relationships with people. I mean, you'll
Facebook
find a bunch
Messenger.
of random strangers. It's a great place in groups for you to meet people. I've met guys in dads groups and other different types of groups that we've befriended each other inside a regular Facebook outside of the group, and then you can just do whatever you want outside of there. I mean, you have to follow the rules of the group or you're going to get kicked out. Most of those groups, if you're posting things to sell within that group, usually you don't get a good return anyway. So use those groups as a place for you to add value and for people to start to know and trust you. And then you'll start getting friend requests from people within the group, and you can friend request other people in the group. So it's just a place for you to go and build your network.
You got to be kind of crafty too. One of the most crafty / cool things I ever heard in a closed group. There's a woman in a weight loss company. Tim and Sarah, you know this woman very well. And she loves Disney World. She loves the Chicago Cubs. And she puts a post out of her with these big blue jeans, and she's half the size of the blue jeans. And she just says, I can't keep the weight from falling off of me, and I got to go buy some new jeans. So I'm looking to give away all these jeans. Just message me if you are size whatever. And believe me, no one was messaging her for her jeans. They were all messaging her to find out how the weight was falling off. She's a smart woman. So you just have to be careful in those closed groups. You guys see any of the questions you guys want to address in here?
Brendan, I wanted to address one thing about stories. That's epic. I know who you're talking about too, and that's a great post. Stories, the other benefit of stories is if you're spacing out your stories like every 4 to 6 hours, and don't want to overdo it here, guys, like so technical, but I try to do something on my story at least in the morning, midday, and in the evening, because every time you do that, it bumps your story to the front of the line. And somebody on here asked, where do you find stories? You can find stories it'll oftentimes show up where somebody's profile picture is right there on their profile, or where you usually find them is right there in Messenger across the top. There's little pictures of each person. And if you click on that, that's their story. And you can literally move from one story to the next that way. And that's what ends up happening. Stories are also on Instagram. You can post your story to Instagram. I know we're talking mostly about Facebook here, but you can post your picture to Instagram or your story to Instagram and have it set up so that it automatically posts the same story on your Facebook feed. I do those both at the same exact time. But I would do multiple throughout the day. Don't just load your story up once, because then it's going to fall to the back of the line over the course of the 24 hours. And you want to keep bumping it up to the front so people see, now what did he do? Now what did she do? Last thing I'll say on that is, oh gosh, hashtags. Somebody put something on there about hashtags. They're relatively ineffective in Facebook from what I've heard from all the leaders, but definitely useful in Instagram. You'll definitely get, because people will search Instagram by a certain hashtag, or they'll follow a specific hashtag, and everything that goes on nutrigenomics or network marketing or cycling or, gardening, right? Somebody on here privately asked me to check out his profile, and that's the instant thing I think about him is he's a gardener, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, some really neat things on there. Hashtags like that on Instagram, Facebook, I believe they're relatively ineffective unless you guys have heard otherwise.
No, and I was gonna say, Karen asked, I don't know if it's Karen Woodruff or a different Karen, asked what are some special tools to spice up stories. I mean, honestly, the tools that they give you within stories with the ability to add music and the boomerangs and stuff is everything that you need. It's good to put like a little time lapse in there every now and then. So if you wake up in the morning, you're mixing up I've seen Brandon do it. I do it all the time. You're mixing up your drink and you just do a little time lapse, or maybe you're working out and you do a little time lapse. The important thing to remember is, it's not really what's the most effective all the time. It's what you're willing to do long-term. And so if you make the process too complicated with having all these special tools and stuff with your stories, it's not really sustainable unless that's just in your wheelhouse. So I would say use the tools that you have, be a little vulnerable in your stories, be willing to just press record and record yourself saying something and telling a story about your day that makes people really know you. And that's going to be all that you need, really.
Yeah.
I want to add something by saying the press voice record. Let them see you. Let them hear your voice when you're prospecting as well. If you're having conversations in Facebook Messenger, using that voice record option is one of my favorites because your conviction, your enthusiasm, your belief, your excitement about what you're doing carries way more weight than what you actually say. So if I'm reaching out to a girlfriend, because I'm making another run with my business right now. So there's people that I want on my team. They're engaging with my post. We interact all the time. So I'm sending them a message like straight up, I'm making another run with my business right now. I don't know if this is something you'd be interested in or not. But when I think about people that I want to work with, your name is absolutely on the top of my list. Do you love me enough to at least take a look? By sending that over voice messenger, like how can they say no? If you send it out over text, it just comes across differently. So use that voice record messenger as much as you can when you're talking to your people. It does have a 1 minute limit. So make sure you're watching the time because you don't want to keep on going for another minute and then it's all gone. So I just wanted to
that's awesome, Sarah. And I love you were just talking about previously how you can not talk to someone for years. And if you talk to them in Messenger, it's like 20 years just evaporated or 15 years just evaporated and you're right back. That is so true. And Tim said it's the ultimate follow-up tool. So true. I can't tell you how many people, guys, when I reach out to them, they'll tell me how good I'm doing. And I'm like, we haven't talked. It's because they've been stalking. They've been watching. They know what's going on. And so I don't have to pitch them on how much success I've had because they're watching it. They're watching it unfold.
Sarah, Brandon, it's funny. I saw a girl here locally in Covington, and I haven't seen this girl since elementary school. I literally have not had a conversation with her since I was like 10 years old, 30 years ago. And she walks up to me and she's telling me how cute my kids were and telling me about things that are going on in my life. And I haven't had a conversation with her in 30 years. It's wild.
We were bowling one time and there was a girl that I had actually never even met, but she was married to one of my friends and she follows us on social media and she ran up and she gave me a hug because she felt like she
can't do that
me.
now with the COVID-19.
She's like, I hope this isn't weird, but I just feel like I know you. And I'm like, of course not, girl. Like
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, guys, we've gone close to an hour. I think we've given you guys a lot of value tonight. I hope we've inspired you to use social media. Don't be afraid of it. It's something that you ease into, and know that the team is full of talented people that can help you. Just ask questions, and we're here to help you build your business online or offline. Right now, really good time online, and we are having some leaders that are making runs right now. And I hope that we can continue to do this for you guys as the time goes on. Maybe we'll do this again next month. We're going to be doing something similar to this in the next week or so. And it's not as a fun topic, but we're going to be trying to, so tonight was about elevating your game in social media. We're going to try and elevate your game with your back office too. And I know that's not sexy, but I can show you, and some of these leaders can show you some tricks with the back office that can absolutely identify some areas you need to be paying attention to. So we'll be looking at doing some of that. So thank you guys, Tim and Sarah. Awesome content, amazing content. Gary Stern, thank you so much for being on tonight. It's a little after 10 p.m. out here on the East Coast. So we're going to sign off and get this thing up. Please let everyone on your team that didn't get this, let them know we're going to have this recording up as soon as YouTube will let us have it up. So you guys have a great night. Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone.
bye.
Thanks, Brandon. Good night, guys.